A 5-year-old boy burst through the doors of a biker bar at midnight, barefoot and covered in blood, screaming, "They took my sister!" Before we dive into this story, make sure to smash subscribe, because tomorrow we have an extra special story for you that will blow your mind. The Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club was having their weekly meeting when little Marcus crashed through their doors. His tiny feet left bloody prints across the wooden floor. Every conversation stopped. Every beer was put down. 20 of the most dangerous men in the state turned to stare at this child who shouldn't even know their bar existed. Marcus was shaking so hard he could barely stand. Blood dripped from cuts on his feet. His pajamas were torn and dirty. But it was his eyes that made these hardened criminals freeze. Those eyes had seen something no child should ever see. Razor, the club president, moved first. He was 6'4", covered in tattoos, with a reputation for violence that kept even cops nervous. But he dropped to one knee in front of Marcus like he was approaching a wounded animal. "Slow down, little man," Razor said in the gentlest voice anyone had ever heard from him. "Tell me what happened to your sister." "Bad men came to our house," Marcus sobbed. "They hit Mommy and took Emma. She's only 7. "Where's your mommy now?" Razor asked. "On the kitchen floor. She won't wake up." Every biker in that room stood up at the same time. The sound of leather and chains moving together was like thunder. These weren't good men. They'd done terrible things, but crimes against children crossed a line that even they wouldn't tolerate. "How far did you run, kid?" asked Thor, the vice president. "From Pine Street. I ran through the woods." The bikers exchanged dark looks. Pine Street was 3 miles away. This 5-year-old had run 3 miles barefoot through the woods at night to find help. But why had he come here instead of calling 911? "Why didn't you call the police?" Razor asked carefully. Marcus's answer chilled everyone to the bone. The bad men were wearing police uniforms. The room exploded with cursing. Dirty cops, the worst kind of criminals because they could hide behind badges. If Marcus had gone to the police station, he might have run straight to the men who took his sister. "Smart kid," growled Snake, pulling out his phone. "I'm calling Doc." Doc wasn't a doctor anymore. He'd lost his license for dealing pills, but he still knew how to patch people up. While they waited, Razor wrapped Marcus's feet in bar towels. "Can you tell me about these bad men?" Razor asked. "How many were there?" 3, Marcus whispered. "They had masks, but I saw a tattoo on one's neck. A spider." Thor's face went pale. "Spider tattoo on the neck. That's Tommy Castellano's crew." Everyone knew Tommy Castellano. He ran drugs through the state using a network of dirty cops. But kidnapping children, that was new. That was a declaration of war. Why would Castellano take a 7-year-old girl? Someone asked. Razor's phone buzzed. He answered and his face turned to stone. "Yeah, we got the kid. What do you mean you can't find the house?" He hung up and looked at Marcus. "Some of my guys went to check on your mom. There's no house on Pine Street with anyone hurt. Are you sure about the address?" 1247 Pine Street, Marcus said clearly. "The yellow house with the broken mailbox." "There's no yellow house at that address," Razor said slowly. "Are you lying to us, kid?" "No," Marcus screamed. "I know my own house. Mommy taught me the address." That's when Diesel noticed something. "Boss, look at his wrists." Everyone saw the ligature marks. Someone had tied this kid up recently. This wasn't a prank or a confused child. Something was very wrong. Doc arrived and immediately started working on Marcus's feet. "Jesus," he muttered. "This kid's got glass embedded deep." He ran through broken bottles and kept going. "You're a tough little warrior," Doc told Marcus. "Braver than most grown men I know." "I had to save Emma," Marcus said simply. "She's scared of the dark." That hit every man in the room. This tiny child had endured agony because his sister was scared of the dark. If that wasn't courage, nothing was. "Get the van," Razor ordered. "We're all going to Pine Street." They wrapped Marcus in a leather jacket that swallowed his tiny body. 20 motorcycles roared to life in the parking lot, their thunder echoing through the night. Marcus rode in the van with Doc, who was treating his feet. "You know what these are?" Doc asked, pointing to his tattoos. Marcus shook his head. "Each one tells a story. This one here? That's for my daughter. She'd be about your age now." "Where is she?" Doc's voice caught. "Heaven, little man, but she was brave like you." The convoy of motorcycles drew stares and nervous looks from anyone still awake. 20 iron wolves riding together meant someone was about to have a very bad night, but tonight they were riding for something different. Tonight they were the cavalry. Pine Street was a normal suburban road. House number 1247 was there, but it was white, not yellow. The mailbox was perfectly fine, and the family inside had never heard of Marcus or Emma. "This doesn't make sense," Thor muttered. That's when Marcus pointed down the street. "There, the yellow house!" Everyone turned to look. There was no house where he was pointing, just an empty lot full of weeds. But Marcus was pulling at the van door, desperate to get out. "My house is right there," he cried. "Why can't you see it?" The bikers were tough men who'd seen everything, but a terrified child pointing at an empty lot where he insisted his house stood, that was something else entirely. "Doc, check him for head injuries," Razor ordered. "Already did. He's got no signs of concussion. Kid knows exactly what he's saying." That's when they heard the screaming. It was faint, like it was coming from very far away, but it was definitely a child screaming. A girl. "You hear that?" Snake asked. Everyone nodded. The screaming was coming from the empty lot. "Emma!" Marcus tried to run toward the sound, but Razor caught him. "Hold up, little man. Let us check it out first." "But she needs me." Marcus fought against Razor's grip. "She's calling for me." "And we're going to get her," Razor promised. "But let the grown-ups go first. Your job was to get help. You did that. Now let us do our job." 5 bikers approached the empty lot with flashlights. What they found changed everything. Hidden in the weeds was a storm cellar door, painted to look like dirt and debris. The screaming was coming from below. "Clever bastards," Thor spat. "Underground hideout disguised as an empty lot." They found the lock had been recently used, fresh scratches on the metal. Someone had been here tonight. Thor yanked the door open. The smell that came out made hardened criminals gag. They found a ladder leading down into darkness. At the bottom was a nightmare. The yellow house hadn't been above ground. It was below it. Someone had built an entire fake house in a massive underground bunker. It was a perfect replica of a normal suburban home, complete with furniture, family photos, and children's toys. But the windows were painted black. The doors were reinforced steel. It was a prison designed to look like a home. "Mother of God," someone whispered. They found Emma first. The 7-year-old was locked in what looked like a normal kid's bedroom, except the window was fake and the door locked from the outside. She was terrified, but unharmed. "Marcus sent us," Razor told her. "Your brother's safe." "They said Marcus was dead," Emma sobbed. "They said I'd never see him again." "Your brother ran 3 miles barefoot through broken glass to get us," Razor said. "That boy would fight the devil himself for you." They brought Emma up to the van where Marcus was waiting. The reunion made every hardened criminal there wipe their eyes. Marcus held his sister like he'd never let go again. "I knew you'd come," Emma whispered. "You always protect me." "Always," Marcus promised. But they weren't done. There were more rooms in the underground house. They found the mother next. Lisa was unconscious but breathing, tied to a kitchen chair in the underground house's kitchen. Doc checked her vitals. She'd been drugged but would survive. "Heavy sedative," Doc diagnosed. "She'll wake up with a hell of a headache but no permanent damage." What the bikers discovered next made even these violent men sick. 3 other rooms, 3 other children, all girls, all between 6 and 8 years old. They'd been missing for weeks, their faces on milk cartons and telephone poles across 3 states. "It's a trafficking ring," Thor said quietly. "They're keeping them here until they can move them. Using fake cops to grab them," Snake added. "So even if someone sees, they won't interfere." One of the girls, barely 6, clutched a teddy bear and stared at the bikers with hollow eyes. "Are you more bad men?" she whispered. "No, sweetheart," Diesel said, his voice breaking. "We're here to take you home." "I don't remember home anymore," the girl said. That broke something in every man there. Children who'd been imprisoned so long they'd forgotten what home looked like. But Marcus had prevented that fate for his sister. His brave run had saved not just Emma, but 3 other innocent souls. "Call it in?" someone asked. "To who?" Razor responded. "We don't know which cops are dirty." "I know one who isn't," said Tank, pulling out his phone. "My cousin Sarah, she's a detective, straight as they come. Lost her partner last year trying to bust Castellano." "Make the call," Razor ordered. "But we don't move these kids until we know she's alone." That's when they heard vehicles approaching. 3 black SUVs rolled up to the empty lot. Men in police uniforms got out. They were coming back to check their hidden dungeon. "Marcus, take the girls to the back of the van," Doc ordered. "Keep them quiet." 20 bikers emerged from the shadows like demons. The fake cops saw them and immediately reached for their weapons. "I wouldn't," Razor said calmly. "You're outnumbered, outgunned, and we've already found your playhouse." The lead fake cop, the one with the spider tattoo, sneered. "You bikers are making a big mistake. You have no idea who you're messing with." "Neither do you," Thor growled. What happened next would become legend in the criminal underworld, but no one would ever speak of it publicly. The 3 fake cops thought their badges would protect them. They thought wrong. When you mess with children, even fake badges won't save you from the Iron Wolves. The fight was brief, but brutal. 3 fake cops against 20 bikers who'd been waiting for an excuse to hurt someone who deserved it. It wasn't even close. When real police arrived 40 minutes later, responding to Tank's cousin, they found 3 men tied up and unconscious. Their police uniforms turned out to be costumes bought online. Their badges were high-quality fakes. Their guns were real, but they never got to use them. Detective Sarah Chen was everything Tank had promised. She arrived alone, just as requested, and took in the scene with professional calm. "Tank?" She nodded to her cousin. "Want to explain why I'm looking at an underground prison and 3 unconscious men in fake cop uniforms?" "That little hero right there," Razor pointed to Marcus, who was wrapped in leather jackets and being fed chocolate by men who looked like they ate bullets for breakfast. "He can tell you everything." What happens next will turn this night upside down, reveal a truth nobody expected, and remind us why sometimes the smallest heroes show the biggest courage. Stay tuned to see what happens next. If you're enjoying the story, please like, share, and subscribe for more. Detective Chen took Marcus's statement while Doc continued treating his feet. The boy was clear and detailed about everything. His recall was extraordinary for a 5-year-old. "They came at 11:15, Marcus said. "I know because I was watching the clock, waiting for Mommy to check on us at 11:30, like always." "You were awake?" Detective Chen asked. "I don't sleep good since Daddy went to heaven. I pretend so Mommy won't worry." Every adult in earshot felt that hit their heart. This kid was protecting his mother even before tonight's horror. "They came in through my window," Marcus continued, "but I rolled under the bed. They thought they got both of us." "Smart thinking," the detective praised. "Daddy taught me. He said if bad men come, hide first, think second, run third." "Your daddy sounds like he was a smart man." "He was a soldier. He fought bad guys far away so they couldn't come here." Marcus's voice dropped. "But he didn't know about the bad guys already here." Detective Chen had to pause her notes. Even she was getting emotional. "So you followed them here?" "I climbed out and followed their car on my bike until it broke. Then I ran. I remembered Mommy saying if I was ever in trouble and couldn't trust the police, find the Iron Wolves. She said they were scary, but they protect kids." Every biker in earshot stood a little straighter. Marcus's mom was a nurse who'd patched up members of their club many times, never asking questions, never judging. She'd earned their respect. Now her son had earned their loyalty. "How did you know to come to our bar?" Razor asked. "Mommy showed me once when we drove past. She said, 'That's where the Iron Wolves live. They look mean, but they helped a lady whose husband was hitting her. If you ever need help and can't find good police, you find them.'" Lisa was starting to wake up. Her first word was, "Marcus?" "He's here, ma'am," Doc assured her. "Both your babies are safe." The reunion was everything. Lisa held her children like she'd never let go. Then she saw the bikers surrounding them and understood immediately. "You found them," she whispered to Razor. "Your boy found us," Razor corrected. "Bravest thing I've ever seen. 3 miles barefoot through glass and thorns to save his sister." Lisa looked at Marcus's bandaged feet and broke down completely. "My baby boy." "I'm okay, Mommy," Marcus assured her. The Iron Wolves fixed everything. Detective Chen's investigation moved quickly. The fake cops were identified as Tommy Castellano's nephews and a cousin. They'd been using the underground house for 6 months, grabbing children who wouldn't be missed immediately. foster kids, children of single parents, kids whose families couldn't afford massive search efforts. But they made a fatal mistake choosing Emma and Marcus, Detective Chen explained. They assumed a single mother working nights would be an easy target. They hadn't counted on a 5-year-old boy with the courage of a lion and the wisdom to know where to find wolves. The three men flipped immediately when faced with life sentences. They gave up everything. Tommy Castellanos' entire operation, the locations of other underground houses, the trafficking routes, the dirty cops on his payroll. There are 17 more locations, Detective Chen told the assembled bikers. Across 5 states, the FBI is raiding them all tonight. By sunrise, the news was breaking everywhere. 83 children rescued, the largest child trafficking ring in U.S. history destroyed, all because one small boy ran through the woods to a biker bar. The Iron Wolves stayed with the family through everything. When reporters showed up wanting to interview Marcus, 20 bikers formed a wall. "The boy's been through enough," Razor told them. "You want a statement? Here it is. Evil came for children. A 5-year-old hero stopped it. End of story." But the story wasn't over. The Iron Wolves set up a college fund for Marcus and Emma. Every member contributed. They figured kids brave enough to face down monsters deserved every chance in life. Tommy Castellano himself was arrested trying to flee the country. He was carrying $3 million in cash and fake passports. The arresting officers noted he seemed terrified, constantly looking over his shoulder, muttering about wolves coming for him. During the trial, Marcus had to testify. The prosecutor was worried about putting a 5-year-old on the stand. But Marcus sat in that chair, looked at the men who'd taken his sister, and told the truth with a clarity that amazed everyone. "Were you scared?" the defense attorney asked, trying to rattle him. "Yes," Marcus said simply, "but Emma was more scared. So I had to be brave." "Why run to a biker bar? Why not a neighbor?" "Because bad guys aren't scared of neighbors, but everybody's scared of the Iron Wolves." The defense attorney had no response to that. How do you argue with a 5-year-old who understands the nature of fear and power better than most adults? The sentences were life without parole for all involved. As they were led away, they passed the gallery where 20 Iron Wolves sat in solidarity with Marcus. The convicted men couldn't meet their eyes. But the most amazing part came after the trial. The other rescued children's families reached out to thank Marcus. One mother drove 300 miles just to hug the boy who'd saved her daughter. "She stopped talking after they took her," the woman sobbed. "But when she heard about you, about how brave you were, she said her first words in weeks. She said, 'If a little boy can be that brave, I can be brave too.'" The FBI gave Marcus a special commendation, the youngest person ever to receive one. The ceremony was held at the Iron Wolves bar because Marcus insisted his heroes be there. "This young man exemplifies courage in its purest form," the FBI director said. "He reminds us that heroes come in all sizes, and sometimes the smallest among us can change the world." Marcus stood on a chair to reach the microphone. "I'm not a hero. The Iron Wolves are heroes. I just knew where to find them." The bar erupted in something these tough men rarely did. They cried, openly and without shame, because a 5-year-old boy had given them something they'd never had before, proof that underneath all their sins they could still be good. Years have passed since that night. Marcus is 15 now. He still has scars on his feet from that run through the woods. He volunteers at the local police station, teaching kids about safety and what to do in emergencies. He always tells them the same thing his mom told him. If you can't trust the people who should help you, find the people who will. Emma doesn't remember much about that night, which the therapists say is a blessing. But she knows her little brother saved her life. She knows 20 dangerous men became their guardian angels. And she knows that sometimes the scariest-looking people have the purest hearts. The underground house on Pine Street was filled with concrete and sealed forever. A small monument was placed on the empty lot. It doesn't mention the horror that was below. It simply says, "Sometimes the smallest feet leave the biggest footprints." Lisa still works at the hospital. She still patches up bikers without asking questions, but now she's never alone. There's always an Iron Wolf nearby keeping watch. They failed to protect her once. It won't happen again. The Iron Wolves changed too. They still do what motorcycle clubs do. But now they also run a program teaching kids about safety. They visit schools, always careful to look less intimidating. They teach children to trust their instincts, to know where safe places are, and to never give up when someone they love is in danger. Marcus always introduces them at these school visits. These are my friends. They look scary, but they save kids. If you're ever in trouble and you see their patches, you run to them. They'll protect you. Detective Chen went on to lead a task force dedicated to finding missing children. She keeps 2 pictures on her desk. One is of the 83 children rescued that night. The other is of Marcus's bloody footprints on the bar floor. Whenever a case seems hopeless, she looks at those footprints and remembers that a 5-year-old didn't give up after 3 miles of agony. Neither will she. The 3 fake cops are serving life sentences in different maximum security prisons. They're kept in protective custody, not because of what they did, but because of who they did it to. Even in prison, there are lines you don't cross. And the Iron Wolves have friends everywhere. Tommy Castellano died in prison 2 years into his sentence. The official cause was a heart attack, but inmates whisper about the night before he died, about how he was found in his cell, terrified and babbling about wolves coming out of the walls, about how 20 different inmates reported hearing motorcycle engines in their dreams that night. The real cops who worked the case still tell the story at police academies, about the importance of community trust, about how a mother's wisdom to tell her son about unlikely allies saved dozens of children, about how sometimes the best partners in fighting crime don't carry badges. Marcus kept the leather jacket they wrapped him in that night. It hangs in his closet, still too big for him. He says he'll grow into it someday. The Iron Wolves say he already has. Size isn't measured in height or muscle. It's measured in courage. And by that measurement, Marcus is the biggest man they know. The rescued children grew up knowing they were saved because one boy wouldn't give up. Several became social workers, cops, and FBI agents. They carry Marcus's story with them, a reminder that evil exists, but so do heroes. And sometimes, heroes are just children who refuse to let fear win. Every year on the anniversary of that night, the Iron Wolves hold a charity ride. Hundreds of bikers from multiple clubs join them. They ride past Pine Street, past the Monument to Footprints of Courage, and end at a community center built with their donations. It's called Emma's House, a safe place for children who need protection. Marcus speaks at the opening ceremony every year. This year, he said something that brought the house down. People asked me if I was afraid that night. Of course I was. I was 5, barefoot and bleeding. But being afraid doesn't mean you stop running. It means you run faster. The Iron Wolves taught me something important. They said courage isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared and doing the right thing anyway. He looked at the assembled bikers, many wiping away tears. That night I didn't save my sister. We all did. I just ran to the right place, and because of the Iron Wolves, 83 families got their children back. The president of the Iron Wolves, old Razor with more gray in his beard now, stood up. Marcus, you've got it backwards, son. You saved us that night. You reminded us that we could be more than what people saw. You gave us purpose. Today, if you drive through that town and see the Iron Wolves riding, you might notice something different about them. They still look dangerous. They still wear their patches with pride. But now those patches include a small addition, a child's footprint with the words, "Protecting the innocent," since that night. Marcus is studying criminal justice now, planning to become either a cop or an FBI agent. When asked why, his answer is simple. Because someone needs to be the person I was looking for that night, someone kids can trust when the world goes dark. His professors say he has an uncanny ability to think like both criminals and victims. They don't know it comes from a night when he was 5, when he had to outthink predators while bleeding from glass wounds, when he had to find heroes in the last place anyone would look. The Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club still meets at the same bar. The floor has been refinished many times, but if you know where to look, you can still see the faint outline of small, bloody footprints. They could have removed them completely, but they chose not to. Those prints are their reminder, their motivation, their pride. Sometimes, late at night, When the bar's quiet and the stories start flowing, someone will raise a glass and say, "To Marcus, the smallest wolf with the biggest howl," and 20 dangerous men will drink to a little boy who reminded them that even in the darkest woods, courage can light the way home. And if you're ever in trouble, if you're ever scared and don't know where to turn, remember Marcus's story. Remember that help can come from unexpected places. Remember that sometimes the people who look the scariest have the biggest hearts. And remember that no matter how small you are, no matter how afraid you might be, you can make a difference. Because on one terrible night, a 5-year-old boy proved that heroes don't need capes or badges or superpowers. Sometimes all they need is love for their family and the courage to run toward help, even when every step hurts. If you enjoyed this incredible true story, please hit that subscribe button and check out one of these 2 amazing stories on your screen right now.